What is up guys, Morton here from SteamFirst.com with a review for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Multiplayer, the first-person shooter developed by Sledgehammer Games and released November 3rd, 2014 on Steam for $60. Alright, so I'm sure at this point everyone knows how Call of Duty works. Basically the same game gets released every year with minor tweaks and different settings, and it still sells like crazy. But Advanced Warfare actually somewhat breaks that tradition. There's a lot of changes in this game, more so than in any other Call of Duty from the last 6 years. The gameplay and controls are basically the same, but they did add a few extra mechanics, mostly involving the exosuit they implemented. One of those is the ability to double jump, which adds a lot of fun to the multiplayer because now people are jumping all over the place, and it really increases the number of places you can easily access on the maps. The maps are all well designed with this in mind, and they did a great job with it. On top of that, the exosuit also adds the ability to quickly dash left or right or even forward while you're in the air from your double jump, plus you get to choose one more ability to use in your creator class, which could be things like hovering, cloaking, sprinting faster, and a few other things as well. This added mechanic of the exosuit adds a lot of freshness to the series. It might sound like a relatively small change overall, but it does change the gameplay significantly, and it's a lot of fun to play around with in games. As for the perks, weapons, and kill streaks, a lot of it is just more of the same. You still have your same perks of cold-blooded, lightweight, etc. In fact, almost all the perks are the same, with just a couple of new ones. Weapons are also similar. I mean, they have different names, but they're still basically the same. There were the same types of weapons, from snipers to assault rifles to LMGs, and there were 3 to 6 different weapons for each type. There are, however, laser guns now, so that's new, but they basically play the same as any automatic weapon. Kill streaks are also mostly similar to other games, with things like the UAV, turrets, care packages, some flying things you can ride in, etc. There are a couple new ones though, such as a war machine, which is basically a giant robot you walk around inside of. They added a couple of new game types, both of which are pretty cool. There's momentum, which is kind of like domination, but there's only one point at a time, and once a team captures it, it moves somewhere else. And there's also uplink, which is basically capture the flag, but with only one flag that both teams are trying to get and bring back to their point. They're both a lot of fun, and they add some more variety to the multiplayer. There's also of course the same modes that every game has had, Team Deathmatch, Search and Destroy, etc. There's also a classic playlist that has the original game modes without the new exosuit, so it removes most of the new mechanics in case you'd prefer just playing the same way you played back in other games. Ranked play also makes a return, and a hardcore playlist is still around as well of course. That's not to say they added everything in though. Notably absent is the theater mode, which was also absent from Ghost last year. They used the reasoning that new consoles have built-in recorders, so there was no need for theater mode, but it's kinda silly because you aren't going to record or stream every single moment, and if something really cool happens you can't go back and view it anymore. Granted, theater mode was never flawless, but it was still a great tool and it would have been nice to see it return, especially on PC where computers aren't necessarily designed to record or stream content. Speaking of PC, let's talk about the port itself. Overall, I'd say it was well done. There aren't any major issues, and I haven't run into any hackers yet, not to say that will last forever, but so far so good on that end. But one issue is that there are no dedicated servers, which means that although most games have good connections, occasionally there are some games with really bad ping, which is frustrating. And probably the biggest issue with Call of Duty on PC, and this is the same issue that every Call of Duty has, is the lack of a player base. There are times when there are literally 0 lobbies for certain game modes. In fact, at the time of writing this, there are no lobbies for either of the new game modes. Nobody was doing ranked play, and there was only one free-for-all lobby. Basically, the only game types you can reliably play are Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirmed, Domination, and sometimes Ground War. The others have lobbies during peak hours, but at off times there's very few people playing. And this is in the first week of release. The game has only been out for 5 days, and there's already issues finding lobbies for some of the modes, which makes me scared thinking 6 or more months down the road. Enough about that though, let's touch on the other type of multiplayer that Call of Duty has, their co-op survival mode. It's called Exo mode in Advanced Warfare, and it's actually really good. There's a bit of a community from what I can see, and there were plenty of people playing to quickly find lobbies. It works similar to other games, where there's just waves of enemies, but each wave is pretty unique with the exosuits. For example, one of the waves has all cloaked enemies, so it's harder to find them, while another wave might have bombs that need to be defused, along with all the regular enemies. There's 4 starting maps. Once you complete wave 50 on those, you unlock 4 more maps. Once you complete wave 75 on those ones, you unlock 4 more maps, and then once you complete 100 rounds on those, you unlock one last map which has zombies for enemies. And just like in previous games, you lose when all 4 of your team members are killed. After someone dies, the other members have 25 seconds to revive them. After that, they're dead until the next round starts. The Exo mode is a lot of fun, and there's a lot more variety in rounds in this game compared to previous survival modes in Call of Duty. They kept a lot of things the same, such as buying weapons in between rounds, but they changed enough to keep it fresh, and the fact that there's multiple types of enemies in the waves is a great change to make it challenging and interesting all the way through. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is an excellent installment in the series. They kept the formula the same while adding more innovation than any Call of Duty since 2007. There are no issues with the PC port other than the fact that the community is much smaller, which means that while there are always team deathmatch and domination games going, you may not always be able to find lobbies for some of the less popular game modes. Overall though, the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare multiplayer gets a 4.5 out of 5. The Exo Survival mode is a lot of fun, and the regular multiplayer has a lot of variety with the new game modes and the exosuits making the gameplay itself fast-paced and interesting, though somewhat chaotic at times. The only reason it doesn't get a 5 is because there's a lack of people on PC, so not every mode is playable. If you're a fan of the series but got bored of its lack of innovation and changes in past installments, then Advanced Warfare is definitely worth looking into. All the additions feel great and the game is really fresh.